Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the Danny Danae Show. I am Danielle Danae, aka Danny Danae, and I've got a lot to say. So let's get into it. Today, we are going to be talking about perception versus reality. Let's talk about it. So, a few episodes ago, I was speaking on what is reality, what do we deem to be real, what is real for real. Who knows? But today I'm talking about perception versus reality. A lot of the way we perceive things is how we think, as what we think is real. And I want to talk about that. I want to go into that. And yeah. So, perception is bias, right? Everybody has different perspectives on different things. And what we perceive sometimes to be real might actually not be real. It's just become real to us because, I don't know, someone has told us something over and over again, or we lived a certain type of lifestyle. We think that's the norm for everybody. We think that's the norm um, for everything, and it's just not the case in every instance. Yeah, because this and thinking thinking it's a norm, your perception is a norm, could be a really bad thing. um for example, if you perceive um your boss being rude as a form of racism, that could have people looking at you crazy. That could have you going through life thinking everybody's racist. People really have this mentality, think that everybody's out to get them. Everything is everybody else's fault. Nothing is their fault. Um, you're even in relationships, you can think your man is always cheating on you if you've experienced a situation with your parents and one of your parents was always cheating on the other one. Um, yeah. If you're around liars all the time, you've grown up around people who constantly lie, unnecessarily lie, you're going to think that everybody is lying to you in general. And that's not a good thing. We had to be able to distinguish and separate our perceptions and what we grew up around to what reality actually is. And that's where a lot of things, like I talk about communication, controlling one's emotions, all that come into play. But it takes some time, especially if, like I said, you've only been a specific place and around specific people your whole entire life. But like I said, it's understandable. It's understandable to have your perception become your reality because you've been around it for so long. You've been around it so long. But that's why people encourage, other people to travel, and to develop different type of friend groups, to just be in spaces you wouldn't normally be around because you gain so much knowledge. You gain so many different perspectives on life, on the way we speak, how people move. And it's so important to be able to be around that in order to really grow, and become wiser about a lot of things. Because you got to remember, if you're told a particular thing over and over again, you're going to believe it. And that's where racism comes in. If a little white boy is told over and over again, black people are bad, he's going to believe it. But we have to, as adults, be able to know how to pinpoint, as adults, and learn like, maybe black people aren't that bad. Well, like I said, with growing up, if you're always thinking someone is bad, it also begs the question for that person: why would I get to know someone? Why would I get to know a black person? If my parents, people who's supposed to love and take care of me and know what's best for me all the time, tell me that black people are bad, why would I get to know one? And you got to. I just tell you, you got to, because parents, even though they love and care for you, they don't know. They don't always know better. They don't. And a lot of them are just, it's a cycle. their parents were told something and that they're just passing on to them. But we got to break cycles sometimes. We got to break generational curses, which I believe racism is a generational curse. Absolutely. We got to be the ones. We got to be the black sheep of our families to speak up and be like, hey, you know, I don't know about this because I never experienced this. And I want to experience this for myself so I know what is true, what is reality, right? Our perception is warped. It's warped. And it's such a crazy thing. Again, I'm from Virginia, Beach, Virginia. I moved to Los Angeles about 6 years ago. And before I moved here, I was told that, Los Angeles was the land of the fake. But I was also told it was a place where you could meet celebrities and get famous just like that. And I had all these agents, these people around me telling me how beautiful I was, saying how good of a model I was 6 years ago. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to be famous in an instant when I get to Los Angeles. I'm going to meet the right people. I'm going to say the right things. All of it's just going to happen. And I believe in God. What? God's going to make it happen for me. 6 years go by and I learned so much about LA. So much that I wasn't told initially. Like, I realized some of the things, were true, but, when people don't tell you the whole truth, it feels like a lie. And I very much believe when people don't tell you the whole truth, it actually is a lie. So yeah, there are fake people in LA, but there are LA natives like my ex that are wonderful people. Wonderful, down to earth, very cool, laid back people. And I would have never known that if I hadn't moved here for myself and experienced it. I'm not famous. It's been 6 years. I've been to the industry parties. I've been everywhere. I've been around celebrities. I've modeled for major brands, and I'm still just Danielle Zane that is doing her YouTube channel. It's cool. It's fine. But my perception was that was going to happen initially because someone told me that it was. My perception was warped. And yeah, but if I had never moved to LA, I would have never known. I just would have believed everything these people told me. And it's crazy. I think it's crazy. I believe these things people were telling me that didn't live there. I think some of them like visited from time to time. So I took what they said wholeheartedly because I'm so desperate to move here. And I visited like twice before with my sister. Pardon me, she moved out here first. And so I came to visit her a couple times and I got to experience it a little bit. And I also, stayed with a woman who did casting directing too in a little bit, but it was in Burbank, not really LA. People don't realize how spread out LA is till you get here. That's another thing people weren't completely honest about before I moved here. LA is spread out. There's downtown LA, there's Glendale, there's Hollywood, there's North Hollywood. There's different types of Hollywood. There's North Hollywood, West Hollywood. There's no South or East. It's just different parts of LA. But yeah, it's very spread out. So, I was like realizing like I don't live in Beverly Hills. That's where the celebrities are. I live in, when I first moved here, I lived in Ladera Heights. And then now I live in downtown LA. Because it's just closer to a lot of the studios and a lot of clients I have down there. The fashion district is down there. All that. If you're in LA, you know. But yeah, back to my point. You really got to experience things for yourself in order to really understand what's real and what's not. That's why, like I said, traveling is encouraged. Reading is very encouraged. Yeah. And like I said, joining groups, joining churches, because and LA is such a great place to move to because so many people move here for so many different places. So you really get, you really experience a bunch of different people and people with different upbringings and perspectives on life. So yeah, me and my boyfriend talk about it all the time. Like I am in a really unique experience that a lot of people don't get to experience. So people back at home, are just watching me on my YouTube, watching me on Facebook, thinking I'm living the best life out here in LA. Little do they know the hardships, the struggles, the stuff that's not true about it, the which I say aren't bad things, but stuff like people don't talk about enough, you know? And it's so funny with all all this Diddy stuff happening recently. Well, maybe I can't say Diddy up here on TikTok because I noticed my views go drastically down when I mentioned um, Diddy. Oh, I'm not supposed to be talking about TikTok on here. Anyway, yeah, like stuff that's happened with celebrities now all coming out that you see, you it's like I've been seeing this stuff for years, but we don't talk about it, but people in the industry now. But yeah, um, I became only aware of it because I'm in it. There's people that live in Los Angeles too that know nothing about what's really going on in the music industries, the modeling industries. They're just living life, you know. So, like I said, you gotta put yourself out there in order to learn new things and experience new things. And some things, I'll say this straight up, some things you're better off not knowing. Some things you could go your whole life not knowing. There are a lot of people say that I could have gone my whole life not knowing this. There's definitely things you could go through life not experiencing, not knowing. But when it comes to how to deal with people and how to speak to people particularly, and how to move in business, things that really matter to really thrive in the world, you definitely got to go out in the world and understand how the world works. And a part of that is you know being around other people, learning their realities, and not just maneuvering through life with your own perception of reality, right? um yeah, so travel, read, hang around different types of people you hang around people you even disagree with. I know, that's something I wasn't able to do 6 years ago. Be around anybody I didn't like or didn't agree with on a certain particular thing. Not everything, but certain particular things. But now I encourage it because, especially with people who can articulate why they believe something, I'm more than happy to listen, because the fact that they're even able to articulate what it is they believe is fantastic in a world that's so quick to say, "Oh, you're wrong," and not explain it. It gives me a perspective, and a lot of times, when they give me that perspective, it makes not often it shifts mine, but it gives another idea out there, and sometimes I can understand. It makes me understand why a person is by what they believe about a certain issue or topic. I'm more understanding with that person. And that's all life is, understanding people. That's a part of growing, understanding one another. It's a part of growing communities. So yeah, and sometimes from time to time I do tend to someone presents their ideas, which are actual facts that, go against what mine are, and they actually make sense. So I start to shift my belief in that way. And I have no problem doing that. Everybody should have no problem, changing their beliefs if actual facts, you know, uh, prove for your beliefs to be wrong. Um, so yeah, you got to experience, you got to be around different types of people, like I said, in order to grow, in order to learn, and yeah, and really know what is real, really know how the world works, and you know how people operate. It helps you operate in the world a little bit better, right? So yeah, I say all this to say, you guys, I want you to ask yourselves, what are your perceptions about life? What is your reality? And does your quote unquote reality align with others? Or are you in your own little bubble, it seems, on things? Does it seem like nobody else believes you? No one understands you, which might not be a bad thing. Because there's a lot of people that say the truth and experience life a little differently, because, we live also in times that people are scared to hear the truth. But when it comes to being successful with relationship, one thing people are Like, even though we live in a world, like I said, that rejects the truth and is very sensitive to the truth, they still develop a certain type of community around them. If you have nobody, then I would start to question if you're living your own reality and you're not you're not learning what other people's realities are in order to get the results you want out of life. Do you find yourself believing things to be true that other people are constantly telling you that aren't true? People are telling you, if you're going around saying that somebody is a racist and other people are like, no, they're not racist. You got to sit back and ask yourself, am I overreacting? What is triggering me to say that this man is a racist? You got to go back into your childhood sometimes and figure out, did something happen when I was growing up or in a past relationship where I hear this one thing and I automatically assume it's racist because I remember this one term, this one word being racist in this instance, but that doesn't mean it's racist in every instance. And racism, like I said, racism is very hard to prove because you have to they have to like literally say the N-word dang near for it to be proven to be racist. Like, you can't go around just saying somebody's racist because they're the opposite race of you and said something rude. Like, you have to actually prove they said something derogatory because of your skin color. Because of your skin color. And that is very tough sometimes, man. But, white person calling you the straight up N-word definitely seems like a racist thing to me. But no, like, obviously I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like if a person's rude or if they roll their eyes or if they don't want to speak to you, they ignore a point you said, dismiss you. People say that's racist, and if you're always thinking people are racist, I mean, I'm just saying it might not be them. It might be you. It might be you. Sorry. Um, yeah, it's so funny. Like, it seems like a lot of people that create or their reality is their perception. Like, their it's all made up in their head. The real world is whatever they deem it to be. They say things like my truth. That's become a thing, especially now I see in interviews and on media spaces. Everybody loves to say my truth. And I'm just like, what does that even mean? For me, it's like there's the truth and then there's the lie. What does my truth mean? My truth, it seems like okay, you're making a lie in your head, but since it seems true to you, since you deem it to be true, now it's a general truth. Now it should be everybody's reality. And that shouldn't be the case. Like I said, there's different perspectives on things, but when we make something, when we turn our perceptions into realities and force it on it to be everybody else's realities, that's a problem. That's just like, the whole, to go even further, the whole pronouns thing, demanding people to call people by their pronouns. Something I won't tolerate. Um it's a game, like Candace Owens like to say. It's a game I refuse to play, that Jordan Peterson refused to play, and we're not going to play that game when it comes to, you making up stuff in your head, calling it my truth, and then thinking it's real for everyone. Your truth is now my truth, and his truth and her truth. No, the truth is the truth, and it should always be like that. The truth is the truth. Okay. Yeah, ask yourself, have you lived in a box your whole life or most of your life? And do you think that's tainted your reality? You growing up in a small town, everybody gossiping and saying the same thing over and over again. about life. No one ever leaving that spot, telling you the world is full of mischief and greed and you should never leave. You should be 100% devoted to us. Listen to us. We're your saviors. Are you around people like that? That cause you now to think that the world is bad? And trust me, the world is a lot. It's pretty messed up right now. But there's a lot of good parts of it too, and you got to go out and experience it sometimes. And sometimes it's okay to just stay where you are. Sometimes you want to grow up, you want to get married and have kids, but still be mindful of what's happening in the world. Like watch podcasts. That's one thing I said. If you're not going to travel, go on your phone and watch things. I genuinely believe it's way better to experience things in person. But if you're dead set on staying where you're at, see the world in other ways. Because I promise you, you're gonna get too caught up in where you're at. You're gonna when the world shifts, and I feel like a major shift is coming. I can't tell you what's gonna happen in this shift, but something's gonna happen where everybody's gonna have to, you know, wake up. I feel like people are waking up right now with the election, but it's gonna be something where it's going to physically and emotionally affect all of us, or we're going to have to understand one another, work together in order to make our society and communities work. And when that moment happens, you want to be as knowledgeable as possible. You want to know about as many things as possible. You want to know what's really happening as much as possible. In order to do that, you got to know what reality is. Reality is so much more than, what you see outside your window. You gotta travel a little bit. You gotta walk a little further. So if you're around the same people all day, every day, go to the same places all day, every day, switch it up. I just encourage you to switch it up. There's no harm in it. You do a five, you do, you walk, I was about to say you walk 5 miles. If you do a daily run in a certain neighborhood, try another one. Try running in a different neighborhood. If you always grocery shop at one grocery shop, go to another one. You just might meet somebody that would change your life. I always ask people when I meet them, I was like, have you ever met somebody that just walked up to you that said something that made you go like, huh? And then you never saw them again? I think I only came with, no, I don't think I've ever come around that individual that said something mind-boggling. They might have said something a little cute or something I thought was funny, but like life-changing. I haven't experienced that yet, but I'm only 26. It's probably coming. But I also think it's because I need to switch up where I'm around a lot of times. I'm always shooting this podcast. I'm always with my boyfriend most of the time. We definitely plan to travel more. But like I said, living in Los Angeles, like I said, so many different people, so many different experiences, different stories that I hear all the time. So I'm a little more knowledgeable about things than someone living in Louisiana or Oklahoma, right? Um, but yeah, we all got to do it. I need to do it more. I'll admit that. And when I say do it, go out more, learn more. We're always learning. You should always be wanting to learn, because what's real, is different to everyone. And you want to go out there and learn about other realities, learn about other perceptions in order to really understand what reality is. A lot of people's realities, like I said, are made up. They're full of perceptions, but you got to be around those people to know not what to become. Sometimes you got to listen to people and listen to them. You got to listen to them to learn what not to do, not what to do. You can't just be around people who teach you what to do. You got to know what not to do too. So you only will do what you should, for the most part. Okay. And if you are one of those people that hangs around the same people all the time, and hasn't left your hometown. Might be time to change your perception a little bit. It might be time to tell your mom, look, I love you to death, but I got to experience some stuff for myself because I don't know anything. I only know what you've told me. Excuse me, pardon me. And it might not be a bad thing. You might have the greatest mother. But like I said, there's other great things that are out there. There's a lot of great things that are out there. And you owe it to yourself to experience as many great things that you can in a world that can be so bad sometimes. Okay? And for the people that, have very valid perceptions on what life is, on what reality is, kudos to you. Shout out to you. I don't know what's a determining factor with that, but I mean, if you're maneuvering through life very well and you are content with where you are in life, I think that's a good indicator. I think that's a very good indicator that you are very self-aware and people-aware and know what's real and what's not. So, yeah. I encourage the people that are working on it, the people that have, I was about to say made up realities. I won't say made up, but their perceptions aren't fully what reality is, or not there 100%. I would just encourage you to start doing things that, are real in life that people need to do. Which is start taking accountability, start hearing people out when they're telling you something. Don't be so dismissive when someone is telling you you're wrong. Then you'll start to grow. Then you'll start to really hear other things. And when you listen to other people speaking, like I've said in my communicating video, you learn so much. You learn so much. And you learn how people really are. You learn how the world really is. And you will be all right when doing so. You'll be better than all right. Your perceptions will align with reality. Your reality will align with your perceptions. Okay? All right, guys. I hope you have a fantastic, fantastic Friday. I will. I am outside this weekend. I decided to go actually outside for my modeling. I've been outside with my man for stuff, but this is an industry event, which I dread going to, but gotta stay out sometimes and gotta stay out to be relevant sometimes. People forget you, and sometimes you gotta pop out and show niggas. So okay, guys, thank you. That's all I have to say about that topic. Thank you guys for tuning in. I love you guys so much. You guys know I love you so much, and I love this top too. Tell me if you guys like this top. I am really into this top. Calvin Klein. Shout out to Calvin Klein. I'm gonna have them as a sponsor eventually for my videos. We'll see. I'm putting that out there in the universe. I love their stuff. Anyways, like this video if you like this video. Comment if you will have something to say. I love to hear you guys' opinions always. Yeah, tell me your stories. I'm curious from where you guys come from, what you relate to when it comes to the things I talk about. And if you disagree, like I said, I'm always down for a debate. Just always keep it respectful. That's all I ask, because I will do nothing but respect you guys as well. But yes, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and I will see you guys next week. Okay?